Welcome to our Players Championship preview, one of the big weeks of the golfing year. We are really looking forward to it, as I'm sure many of you are. PickGuru has our biggest ever game this week, so we've got £2,000 guaranteed minimum in the pot. So please download the app on the link below and get involved. We're going to be trying to find the best picks in our game this week and generally preview the tournament as well. I'm joined as ever, by Len Hochberg from RotoWire. Len, how are you doing this week?
Doing well, Matt. Thank you. Good to be with you again, and looking forward to another good week of golf here. This field even better than last week.
Yeah, it's known as the unofficial fifth major. Other people have different ways of describing it, but it's a tournament that everyone wants on their CV. Let's start off with the premium picks category. 5 of the most elite golfers in the world, as you'd expect. Last week you went for Rory McIlroy. Have you changed your tone? Have you gone for someone else this week?
I am going to go with someone else this week, Matt, and I guess I haven't read the fine print on the rules, but I'm guessing I'm not allowed to take all 5. Really, it's a hard group here. It's a hard group. Justin Thomas, the defending champion, I would expect him to play well. Jon Rahm, for all his troubles, he's finished like in the top 20, 21 every week this year, and most golfers would kill for that. But I'm going to go with Collin Morikawa. Even though Collin Morikawa has played this tournament only once and finished 41st last year, I just can't see myself being left out of Collin Morikawa. He is the best iron player. This, again, is a track that requires great iron play. He hasn't played a lot on tour this year, but he is ranked 4th on the PGA Tour in putting. Where that came from, I don't know. But if the best iron player is also going to be one of the best putters, well, then maybe the other golfers really would have a reason to go to another tour.
So there isn't a bigger fan of Collin Morikawa than me. I absolutely love the guy, and I totally respect his chances this week. But let me throw a question back to you. I think only one of the last 32 winners of this event has not prepped on the East Coast previously, and Morikawa will be attempting to buck that trend. Does that worry you at all with him?
It doesn't. I know he hasn't played much. He's only played once in the States since the first week of the season at the Tournament of Champions. I've just listened to him a lot. He knows exactly what he's doing. He has his plan. He's actually going to start playing a lot. We'll see him at the Valspar next week and the match play. That doesn't help it this week, but it really doesn't. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's prepared for this tournament.
I think that those that have bucked the trend have been aiming to catapult themselves to world number 1. And I think he has a chance of doing that this week if results go right. So, yeah, it pains me to go against Morikawa because he is a favourite of mine. But I'm with Jon Rahm this week. Like you said, very consistent, keeps hitting the top 20. He's letting favourite backers down every week, which is obviously disappointing for anyone that follows the favourites. But there's just a feeling now that we're starting to turn our back on him, and it might just be the week that everything comes together. He's got progressive form figures at this tournament: 72, 63, 12, and 9. The underlying stats are good. He's first off the tee, 4th for approach, 7th overall shots gained. He's putted okay here before, and I hope that a return to here will sort out his putting game, which has been a big weakness recently. So it would just be typical for him to put it all together when some people have kind of given up faith with him with his performances recently. But let's move on to the next category, which is the World Elite category. We've got 4 guys in here. We did have 5, but Bryson has pulled out. So we're left with Patrick Cantlay, DJ, Xander, and Matsuyama. Who's the Hochberg hammer fallen on this week?
Yeah, I was very surprised to see that Patrick Cantlay has not done well at this tournament. It's one of the few, if maybe the only one. And, this week we have weather, we have a lot of water, we'll have wind, we'll have rain, or at least that's in the forecast at the time we are recording this. And I'm looking for a conservative player, and Cantlay is a conservative player, but because of his track record, I'm going to turn toward Hideki Matsuyama. He's been playing pretty well. He was 20th last week. I think we'd like a little bit more of him from this position in the Pick Guru game, but he is one of the top players in bogey avoidance in the top 20 on tour in that. And he has missed 2 of the last 3 cuts here at the Players, but he also has some good form as well. I think that's pretty consistent that players have good weeks and bad weeks here. He was 8th 2 years ago.
I really like Matsuyama as well. He's going to be my pick. I couldn't think of a worse green setup for him than last week at Bay Hill. Traditionally, putting has been his nemesis. And it was like some of the greens were like glass last week, and he struggled on them, but still managed an okay finishing position. He ranks top 16 recent form off the tee, approach, tee to green, and around the green. I think the putting surfaces this week will help him. I've been reading that there's a bit of overseeding that's had to take place, and he's performed well on similar surfaces before. I think it might see a return to form with his flat stick, and if that happens, the rest of his game is in good shape, and he's a real interesting play. He's also led after round 1 twice here in the last 5 or 6 renewals. That's another interesting angle as well. I expect him to start fast. So double vote for Matsuyama. We're on to the front runners next. Another interesting category. Who have you selected and why?
Yeah, there were a few guys who I considered. Avoid Scotty Scheffler these days at your own peril. I do like Cam Smith. He has sort of rounded into form at the Players. He's shown that he didn't have a good start his first few times, but he was top 20 last year and quite in form right now. But I'm going to go with Daniel Berger, a Floridian, plays well in Florida, was 9th here last year. He's really playing well every year. He had a little bit of a bump earlier this year, a little bit of a speed bump when he was injured, but he showed at the Honda that he is healthy. He didn't have the greatest finish. I think that will be driving him this week. He's another guy, very low bogey average, top 5 on tour in bogeys. I like Daniel Berger a lot this week. I think across a lot of betting platforms, he's going to be a popular selection. Yeah,
he ticks the boxes for me, and he is my pick as well. So that's 2 in a row where we've matched each other. 4th at the Honda in good form. He's had that Florida prep, 2 top 10s here. I think he's really, really solid. I think his all-round game's in a really good place. Just quickly on Scheffler, are you in the camp where last week's win may have taken more out of him, or are you in the camp where it could give him yet another boost and he might go 3 out of 4?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a conversation with a few people about the difficult conditions on Sunday and even Saturday at Bay Hill, and whether that will, whether to fade the players who played last week as opposed to the players who were off. And I do think there is something to that. I mean, but Scheffler showed coming right after his initial win in Phoenix, he went and played the next week and he was 7th at Riviera. So that was almost, in some ways, that's almost as impressive as the win, that you can just refocus so quickly and come back, I still think Scotty Scheffler will be there on the weekend. Whether he's on the first page of the leaderboard, I don't know, but it is a good question to ask.
I saw you talking about David Duval in the week as well, and kind of the similarities between the two. Funnily enough, the stat I gave earlier, only one player has, in the last 32 renewals, has won the Players without an East Coast prep. It was David Duval in 1999. So there we go. Nice. Just round that one off there. Okay, let's move on. So the next category is for your guys over there, the US contenders. Who have you picked?
Yeah, I struggled with this. I struggled with this category greatly. Some of the guys who played last week, and one of them is my pick, Taylor Gooch, who he just shot himself out of the tournament last week with a 43 on the front 9, but he did shoot 2 under on the back. I was very impressed with that. A lot of golfers would have just rolled over and and couldn't wait to get to 18th to the clubhouse, but he fought his way through, and he is a good fit for this golf course. He's a very, Paul Azinger on our television here was saying what a beautiful swing that Taylor Gooch has. He has played well here before. Again, a low bogey guy, slight edge to Taylor Gooch over Horschel and Burns, and really a lot to be said for a few of the guys in this category.
I think Gooch is an interesting pick. I think a lot of people will fade him this week because that performance on the front nine is fresh in their mind. But I agree with you. I think his iron play and his approach play will stand him in very good stead around here, and he's an interesting one. My selection was Sam Burns. He like many people, he was one of my players to follow for 2022, and it just hasn't happened for him. 3 missed cuts. I think he opened the year up with. He's finally shown a bit of form. He was 9th last week. He finished with a 71, which put him 4th in the field on Sunday, which is a very difficult day. Hopefully he can carry that momentum into this week and continue his resurgence. Let's move on. Let's cover off 2 categories. So next up we've got International Stars and Ryder Cup Heroes. Who are the 2 picks from these categories, Len?
I'm going to start with the International Stars, and I'm going to go to Sung Jae Im. And I just keep riding him. He just it's very hard to go to a guy who burns you, as we all know, to return to him. I didn't go to him last week, but I did like him, and he was 20th at Bay Hill. Again, this is a course where we don't want any cowboys. We want everybody to get on the green, get pars, especially with the weather that's coming in. I think a conservative player is the way to go this week. I do like Sung Jae Im. He had his best year ever at the Players last year. He's only played it a couple of times, I think, but he was 17th last year. And in the Ryder Cup category, really struggled between Shane Lowry and Matt Fitzpatrick. And I'm going to go with Lowry. Lowry has shown for the past year that he just plays well on tough courses in elite fields. He came really close at the Honda. And if there's weather, I think the Irishman should be able to hold his own in that situation.
So yeah, interesting. Sung Jae Im, he comes up every week in this pod. So you were with him week 1, I was with him last week, and now you're back with him again. Speaking of last week, we should probably touch on that quickly. We both had a very strong week. So your selections scored 238, mine scored 204. So just edged it. The lower, the better, because it's based on leaderboard positions. And that would have been, we both would have cashed last week. So pretty solid advice. So let's hope that it continues. The winner got 158, which seems remarkable.
Wow.
Yeah. Almost perfect picks across the board. We had 4 perfect picks between us of the 8. So let's hope for more of the same this week.
Right.
Just quickly, my picks, International Stars, I've gone for Corey Connors. He was one of the perfect picks last week. I'm going to stick with him. 7th here last year and is in good form again, 11th last week. And I am going to maybe annoy you and go for Matt Fitzpatrick. He's just so dependable. 3 top 10s in a row now in the last few weeks. 9th here last year, just seems to be on fire with his putting. And he will do for me. And let's round off the picks with a great category, actually, the previous winners. So we've got some old favourites in here, and also the DP World Tour Raiders. Who are your picks, Len?
Yeah, previous winners, Adam Scott for me, playing pretty well. He did fade a little bit on the weekend at Bay Hill, but he still ended up 26th, and he had a good week. He's had a good start to the season here, and he played well at Riviera. He had 4 top 12s in a row at the Players until last year, had a little bit of a blip last year, but I do like him. He is one of the best players in the history of this tournament, at least in the last 20 years, has a lot of good weeks. And the DP World Raiders, Alex Noren. Alex Noren, really a strong player, very quietly playing well, top 70, top 60 in the world, something like that. Just missed the Tour Championship last year. Really a quietly good reversal from a few years ago when he was more of a top player. I will say that the one concern for Alex Noren, he does have a couple of top 25s or top 20s in this tournament, but they were 2 years ago when the tournament was played in May. Since the tournament switched to March and scoring has gotten a little harder, he's missed the cut, but I'm confident that he is playing better now than he was even a year ago. I expect him to at least get to the weekend.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. Noren ticks a lot of boxes. I came out with Sergio Garcia for the previous winners. A bit like Scott, he has 7 top 10 finishes at this tournament, including 9th last year, where he led the field after round 1. I think he's striking the ball pretty well at the moment. I hope that a return to this place can see him go well again. And for the DP World Tour Raiders, I liked Lee Westwood. I think he's in better form than his finishing positions are suggesting. He was runner-up last year, but he blew up last weekend, ran 76, 79. But he has 7 top 25s from 15 attempts at the Players. So here's hoping for that again. Let's finish with the way we normally finish. Let's get your outright selection for the tournament and perhaps a dark horse or two to look out for.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Collin Morikawa. I just, again, it just seems like anytime he's in the field, he's very close. He was just, he had a long break and he came back and he was second at Riviera, and he hadn't played well at Riviera before. We haven't seen him since then. So he's my pick to win. And I guess he's a little bit of a long shot. He's not a full long shot, but Daniel Berger, plays well in Florida, plays well everywhere now, coming on, current form, course history. I think he will be really energized to play well this week.
I wish you all the best in the world with that, but it would break my heart as a Collin Morikawa fan. I can't get that Florida prep out of my head. It's Matsuyama for me. I think he might be the one. I love his profile, striking the ball well. I think he'll take to these green surfaces again. I think he could challenge this week. I can't leave Rahm out of the calculations. I think he will be there or thereabouts. But those at bigger odds, I like Matt Fitzpatrick, who we've talked about, solid. And I'd probably give a chance to Sam Burns, who has to be reaching his ceiling price. I mean, he's 50 to 1. I don't think anyone thought he'd be that big at the start of the year. So those 3 for me: Matsuyama, Fitzpatrick, and Burns. Thanks very much, Len, for your time. Good luck this week. Good luck to everyone entering the PickGuru competition. There's £2,000 minimum to be won. Please download the app, get involved, and enjoy the action from Sawgrass. Thanks.